And we are on air.
Hi guys, my name is Brianna and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I wrap presents. So let's get right into the video. So growing up, I was always the go-to person to help wrap presents because I am pretty decent at it. I can wrap irregular shaped things, but today I'm only going to show you guys how to wrap just a plain old box. And if this is helpful for any of you guys, you can comment down below and maybe next time I can show you how to wrap different kinds of shapes of things. But for now, let me move you guys to where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here we are. I got some Christmas wrapping paper. I don't have regular tape, but the kind of tape you use doesn't really matter. I have this blue electrical tape that I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to be cutting it into the right sized pieces. Also, since Christmas is not here yet, and you guys are seeing this before Christmas, I didn't want to do any actual presents because I don't want people seeing in advance what their gifts are. So today we are going to be wrapping some candy because people most likely won't know if it's for them or not. So I felt like candy was more generic than real presents, which are a bit more obvious who they match up with, you know? Okay, so the first step obviously is to cut your wrapping paper to however much you need. So most wrapping paper has these lines on it. So what I usually do is, depending on the thickness of the box, of course, I'll go about a box and a half extra from wherever the box lines up. This is cheap dollar store wrapping paper, so it doesn't cut so nicely, but it is what it is. I don't think it's that big of a deal, these frayed edges. As long as you wrap it well, it gets covered up anyways. From here, put the box like that, and like this, we just roughly estimate and cut. Now we have the perfect size piece of paper for this. Here, I'm just wrapping some warheads up. So putting this roughly in the middle, we take the one side here and tape it down. Okay, from there, you want to make sure your paper is nice and smooth, and you're going to push the present into the other side to make sure that this edge is going to be smooth when you wrap it over. Then you pull this side and make sure everything is tight before you tape it, or you're going to have lumps around. Okay, so here we have it just like this, and we just have our two ends out now. This is the part where a lot of people start making mistakes. It's not that difficult. You push this down all the way, right? Making sure this flap right here is seamless. If you have a bigger present and this isn't staying down, you can put a piece of tape there as well for extra. But then this corner, you push it in, so you have a flap here like this, and then you fold this flap over like that. And you do the same thing on the other side. So now we have this big flap here. Now this is where sometimes you might want a piece of tape here, but it just depends on how good you are at wrapping, if you need one or not. We're gonna hold it down, or if you taped it, that's great. And we're gonna pull this flap up here, and we're gonna tape that down like so. Depending on the wrapping paper, you might need some over here. Like I said, I have cheap dollar store wrapping paper right now, so I'm gonna use just some teeny pieces of tape in these corners right here. And you see now here we have beautiful edges, and we're going to do the same thing over here on this side, pushing this down, making sure that all the paper is flat everywhere, making this into a flap just like that. Same thing on this side, and once again we're going to pull this flap up while pushing this part down. And right here, boom, piece of tape, and same thing over here and over here. Now, I have blue tape all over the bottom of mine because I used blue tape, but if you use clear tape, it really looks seamless. It's beautifully wrapped, perfectly smooth along the top, and this is still easy for the person to open. All they have to do is slide their finger under this flap right here or here on either side. There's still openings, and yet it all looks smooth and seamless. Like I said, for my wrap job, you see the blue tape, but if you had clear tape, it would look perfect. perfect. Then I usually just take a Sharpie, or if I have labels, I put labels on them for who they're for. I like to stack up presents as well all together for who they go to. So you have a stack of presents taped together, but I don't have a stack of presents for one person here that we're wrapping in this video, just because, like I said, no spoilers before Christmas. So I'm going to walk you guys through that process. Once again, I have this extra piece from when we cut out that full piece for the last one, so that's what we are going to use for this next one. Next, we have some dots here that we're taping. Alrighty, so just like before, same steps. First, fold one half over, tape it down, push the present into that side, and then fold over to the other side. Make sure that all the paper is tight before you tape it down, or you're going to have lumps. This should all be smooth, and you should just have the edges sticking out. Okay, now once again, pushing down the paper on this side, making sure there's nothing sticking up here, and making this into a flap on both sides. Then we're pushing this down and pulling this up over here and taping that right there. And tiny piece of tape on each corner. Same thing on this side. Pushing down this part, making sure there's nothing sticking up, folding this flap over, folding this flap over, then we're pulling this up, making sure everything goes nice and flat, taping right here, and this time it's close enough to this corner I don't need a piece there, so I'm just gonna put a piece here. And once again, if that was clear tape, this would all look seamless, but I have blue tape, so that's unfortunate, but it does help you see where I taped, and all this should look smooth. Your edges should look nice and clean. There should only be tape on the bottom. And we're gonna cut just a bit more wrapping paper and walk you guys through this just one more time. But this time, I'm going to cut the paper like this, just because I'm going to need longer pieces for other things I'm wrapping that I'm not gonna wrap on camera. And I won't need that much paper for this, so I want the rest of the strip to be longer. So this time, we're gonna go a little bit lower right here. Same measurements just about a box and a half extra on each side. Going in this direction, I'm just going to loosely estimate here and then cut across and move this extra paper out of the way. Now, even though the paper, I cut it differently, it's still exactly the same process here. Fold it over, tape it down, pull, and make sure the present is tight in there. Then fold the other paper flat over and make sure everything is tight. We don't want any lumps in our present. And now we should have a flap on either side. If the flaps are a little long for your liking, you can see here this side is pretty long. You can just go like this and trim it down. Doesn't make too much of a difference. It's just up to you if it's easier to wrap with less paper or not. Same thing, pushing this down, creating a flap on this side and a flap on this side. Then we're going to pull this flap up, making sure all our paper is tight. And we're just gonna tape that down there. And since this side is smaller, we only need one piece of tape here. And we're gonna do the same thing over on this side. Push it down, make sure there's no bumps anywhere. Same thing on this side. And we're gonna pull this flap up again, making sure there's no lumps anywhere. And we're gonna tape that down. And we are done. Less tape on this one, but the same idea. And again with the blue tape. If it was clear, this would all look seamless. Nice present here. All the edges looking beautiful. So yeah, that is how I wrap normal box presents. Not too difficult, and once you get the hang of it, it is super, super easy, and I think it just looks so nice, and I just love wrapping presents, and I just love the presentation of it, and it's just so fun. But anyways, comment down below what other kinds of shapes you struggle wrapping, and maybe I can let you guys know how I do it. But for now, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Happy VEDID, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah!